For decades, science fiction writers have amazed us and terrorised us with their portrayal of the world of robots. The coming army of super intelligent and strong machines that will help us or hinder us. From the crazy Daleks of Doctor Who to the funny and human-like androids of Star Trek, everything has been imagined. Today we are living in that future age of robots and artificial intelligence. Today, all those dreams of the past are coming true. Around the world, scientists, engineers, and software creators are bringing to life the fantasy world of the films. Mechanical robots will soon be outdated, with biologically created humanoids implanted with artificial intelligence and connected to each other across the globe. They will self-repair, gather energy from the sun, and live forever. They will be all-knowing and all-powerful, like gods that will walk the earth. And all the time, we humans are blindly following. We are walking away from what millions of years as beings of a natural world into something so unnatural that even the science fiction writers will be amazed. This future world is now inevitable and cannot be stopped. We have no choice but to be part of it, and so we had better be armed with knowledge in order to be better prepared for the circumstances. The greatest brains on Earth today have warned us about the consequences of getting this new technology wrong. They have predicted catastrophe. Prepare to meet your future now. To understand where we are heading, we have to understand the technology. To help us, we will break it down into two parts: robotics and artificial intelligence. As technology stands today, a robot or droid is technically a machine. At some point in the future, it is highly likely that this will change, and our super strong intelligent friends, or foes, will be genetically created from human DNA and programmed at the quantum level. But we will move on to that soon. Robots, at present, are programmed by humans, or even by other computers, to carry out complex tasks automatically. They can be controlled externally with a device or via inbuilt processors. Unlike most science fiction movies, robots are generally not human-like in form. In fact, they are generally constructed with no or little aesthetics in mind, and are designed purely for function in factories and other places of work. Industrial, medical, patient assistance, therapy, swarm robots, drones, and now even nanorobots that can go into the bloodstream. A massive amount of money is also spent by the military in creating battle-useful robots that can do all manner of tasks, from bomb disposal to carrying heavy loads. Increasingly low, and in line with the rise of artificial intelligence, robots are now being made in humanoid form. This helps them to appear more intelligent and on our own level. Some find this less stressful, others find it more terrifying. The sheer amount of money and effort to get to this place in time and technology is awe-inspiring. No one man has created the robot. It takes hundreds of people to design each small piece, hundreds more in the engineering and construction, and hundreds more for the software engineers to create programs to move arms and legs, for sensors such as sight, sound and even smell. Language skills, awareness of surroundings, task routines, and so much more all have to be taken into account. The process is huge, costly and time-consuming. And yet, some would say that if we were to put half of the effort into ending poverty in the world and the environment, we would all be better off already. But that aside, it is a massive step in human ingenuity. Whether it proves to be good or bad is yet to be seen. At present, the benefits are there for all to see. Menial tasks can now be taken care of in the workplace, freeing up people. Dangerous tasks in difficult environments, such as nuclear power stations, are now carried out by robots. An increasingly clever part of robotics is the use of knowledge gained from nature. Copying the way birds fly or caterpillars walk have all helped provide us with robots that work better and more efficiently. These are known as bio-inspired robotics. But all of this is actually not new. Automata have actually been around for thousands of years. Ancient civilizations created them to amuse the rich and powerful, in the shape of humans and animals. Over time, these mechanical devices were adapted to help mankind in more practical ways, until eventually electricity and computer technology enabled us to get to where we are today. The very first use of the term robot came about in a play from 1920 by Czech writer Čapek. The first truly electronic device was created by British inventor William Gray Walter in 1948. The first programmable robot came 6 years later and was named Unimate. It was simply used to lift hot metal from die casting machines at the Inland Fisher Guide plant of General Motors in New Jersey. Today, robots have replaced hundreds of thousands of humans performing repetitive or dangerous tasks, and even tasks no humans could actually perform, such as in space or under the sea. Robots have found their way to the bottom of the ocean and even into space. But all of this has caused problems, and these are set to become internationally problematic on a much larger scale. Many in society see the rise of the machine as a threat, bringing mass unemployment as they replace more and more skilled workers. In the military, there is a heated debate about the use of robots to actually fight battles instead of humans, and all the ethical questions that arise from giving such power and intelligence to fighting machines. This is not science fiction, this is actually happening today. But things are about to get even more bizarre, because the next stage in robotic evolution mirrors our own even more closely. The use of genetically creating the perfect android from our own DNA. DNA carries all the genetic information about who and what we are. It is us. It is all living organisms. It is made up of two strands of DNA molecules folded into a spiral we call the double helix. Genes are made from different sequences in these strands of the four main genetic components. It's kind of like a very complex form of binary. Scientists can now not only read the code of DNA, they can manipulate it, bend the spirals, and encode data into it. At the moment, the law does not allow them to go too far, but that is all under review at the very highest levels. Because scientists can now manipulate DNA in such remarkable ways that go beyond its original purpose, all manner of opportunities arise. DNA-based materials are now being used to create nanorobots that can carry precise levels of drugs to diseased cells in the human body. This is DNA created in the form of a barrel of two halves with a hinge. When the cells recognise diseased cells, the hinge is open, the barrel, and delivers its cargo of drugs directly into the bad cell. Healthy cells are therefore unharmed. Researchers have even designed nanothermometers that are ultra-sensitive and can find tiny hotspots in living cells. These are created using loops of DNA that act as switches by folding and unfolding when the temperature changes. It is this precise invention of using DNA to create minute switches that has changed things, because DNA structures can actually be used as a kind of on and off switch. In fact, it becomes like a computer using binary information. Scientists have now created DNA nanorobots that can now communicate with each other using DNA switches. These nano-DNA robots were then implanted into a cockroach, and this allowed them to create a biological computer. Testing on humans is planned. We touched on earlier about how from the very beginning robotics has copied the natural world. Now, through the understanding of DNA, scientists can create genetic robots from the actual animal's DNA itself and reprogram it. This can happen at the nano scale. An example is how plants and animals convert solar energy or light into chemical energy through photosynthesis. Scientists copied this process and manipulated DNA to capture light and convert the energy. Imagine a genetic robot that is its own solar panel. Imagine DNA light catching and converting molecules being built into almost anything. Super efficient, abundant sources of energy. Imagine a genetically cloned and reprogrammed humanoid robot with a constant energy source, self-repairing, always learning. All it needs now is true artificial intelligence, and this is where the world is suddenly becoming more and more interesting. Artificial intelligence, also known as simply AI, is intelligence exhibited by machines, whether mechanical or genetic. To scientists, AI is any device that can perceive its own environment and take action within it. To the rest of us, AI is when a machine becomes so clever that we can no longer tell whether it is machine or human. It must be aware, have cognitive functions such as learning, and solve problems. Over time, the idea of what AI is has been changing. It was once thought that optical character recognition was a sign of intelligence. Now, however, even mobile phone apps can recognise characters, and yet a mobile phone is not artificially intelligent. In this way, items are slowly being removed from the list of what artificial intelligence is. Eventually, it is thought there will be nothing left on the list, and we will truly have AI. As it stands, scientists are working on various elements to tick off the list. Understanding human speech, driverless cars, planes and trains, playing strategy games and military simulations, and the interpretation of complex data. All of these elements are now within reach or have been achieved. The understanding of complex data has already put thousands of people out of work in banks and other businesses. Driverless trucks and cars will do the same. The world of AI is very complicated and is divided into various elements. Each element focuses on its own field, and it is hoped one day they will all join up to create the perfect artificially intelligent mind. The main issues at the moment are the abilities to reason, to gain true knowledge, to plan, understand and speak natural languages, perception of the environment, and the ability to move and manipulate things within it. There are a variety of methods being used to get around these issues. Statistical and complex computation, computer learning from our actions and more. All of the methods will most likely be used to eventually generate true AI mind. But it is problematic. Computer learning from humans has caused problems. Racism and even violence have been picked up as a normal part of human behaviour, and AI started to do the same. This is what happens when pure mathematical, statistical, logical learning is used. After all, how do you write down in mathematics things such as compassion and empathy? A lot of humans don't have such things, so how do we program them into robots? The answer may very well lay within the DNA genetic future humanoid, and not the mechanical chip and gear version. It may also lay within the realm of quantum computer technology implanted within DNA, and an artificial biological brain placed within a mechanical structure. At the moment, researchers are keen to teach the IA brain computer science and mathematics, but also philosophy, psychology and neuroscience, in the hope that it will begin to understand itself. It was claimed that human intelligence could be precisely described in mathematical terms, and therefore a machine would be able to simulate it. That idea has turned out to be not as simple as first thought. The human mind is much more complex than most mathematical models could work out, and so the process is slow, going through each element of the human mind and learning. The computer learns through algorithms, and it is hoped one day to begin to see more of a human intelligence in it than simply knowledge of logic. In truth, all of this raises many philosophical questions about the nature of the mind itself. Not to mention the ethics of creating a self-aware mind, playing God. All of these questions and more have been explored in science fiction for decades. Will AI be a danger to mankind? It all depends on how we proceed, and because there are many people around the world working on it and racing against each other, almost anything could happen. Imagine a self-aware, super-intelligent mind let loose upon the internet. With all that knowledge of everything humans have discovered, created and done, what would it do? Would it decide we are a threat to its own existence, and that of the planet, and therefore try to wipe us out? Some very intelligent people think that is a possibility. Recently, machine learning is being spoken of as a sub-element of artificial intelligence. This is not a self-aware machine, but one that constantly learns from every input. These have been set free in the world of games to see how humans react to each other, and it has even played the game and been very ruthless. There is a massive multi-billion-dollar race on to create the best AI. The payback will be huge because it will be used everywhere. From driverless cars and drones to mobile phones and more. Potentially, machines with intelligence have the ability to make ethical decisions and could thus outdate us. Scientist Stephen Hawking said, "The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Once humans develop artificial intelligence, it will take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans, who are limited by slow biological evolution, couldn't compete and would be superseded." Health services, government, distribution of goods, education, satellites, communication, military, and so much more. All of these things are now connected to the net. An attack upon services happened in 2017 and reduced the national health services in the United Kingdom down to a shambles for days. All computer systems went down, hospitals were in crisis, operations cancelled, emergency services overstretched, all because of one small hack by some kid in a dark room. Now imagine a mind faster than all the humans ever, and with knowledge of everything. We wouldn't stand a chance. But we don't always need to worry about the threat of the artificial mind. We have enough human craziness to compete with. Most of the research into robotics and AI is funded by the military of the world. There are over 50 countries spending trillions on battlefield robots, AI-led battle technology, and more. Who is going to stop the US or Russia from developing artificially intelligent super robotic soldiers? You? Me? Chances are somebody somewhere has already created a genetically enhanced clone of a human being and is even now enhancing its intellectual powers, energy consumption, and creation. Genetic repairing and interconnectedness with central command. Not science fiction, but highly likely. The technology is there, which means it's being done, just not legally. Hundreds of years ago, a group of scientists got together to place science firmly in the world of humanity. They were what became known as the Royal Society. Their aim was to explain existence in scientific terms, to understand what they called God's creation better. Now, years later, their legacy is the scientific world we have around us. And now, that aim to understand the world around us has turned inwards to ourselves. To understand ourselves by creating what we are and becoming God ourselves. We claim we have understood the wonder of the universe, and now we are gods able to create. But we most certainly do fall short of the glory of our idea of a god. At the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, is the human mind nothing but a series of binary codes, on and off switches to be played with by scientists? What is the soul? Can you define such a thing through numbers and equations? By reducing ourselves down ultimately to a series of numbers, we have destroyed what it is to be human. We are staring blankly, like rabbits caught in the light, at a future of uncertainty. Artificial intelligence and robotics will, without doubt, bring with it mass unemployment and unhappiness. The machines will, and already are, exceeding our abilities. Millions are already losing their jobs. Bankers, teachers, marketing executives, factory workers, retailers, drivers, and more. There is no escaping this, because it is already happening. There are even robots now that are replacing partners. Sex robots look so perfect and perform almost every function. They are now being given the highest level of artificial intelligence, so that buyers can actually hold conversations with them. If we can replace each other in this way, and if we want to, then what will true self-aware artificial intelligence do? The fact is that the machines must be given ethics, and those ethics must be internationally agreed before AI is unleashed. Thankfully, this has been recognised, and there are symposiums of machine ethics in place. Of course, that does not allow for espionage, rogue nations, dictators, capitalist greed, and more. Where there's a will, there's a way, and normally the willpower comes in the form of dollar bills. There are those who say that AI cannot be designed to be good. It will be what it will be, and we may not even comprehend why it makes certain decisions. Indeed, Google Translate actually created its own language to interpret human languages, without the knowledge of its creators, and hid it in code. How can we know that the machine will sign up to our own moral codes when we do not? It may decide not to continue to support human life as part of its own moral code to save the planet from us. It has been suggested to attempt to create a super-friendly AI as the first Adam of its kind, and through which all subsequent sons of AI must be tested. Nobody is at all sure what to do. If an AI system replicates all key aspects of human intelligence, will that system also be sentient? Will it have a mind which has conscious experiences? This question is closely related to the philosophical problem as to the nature of human consciousness, generally referred to as the hard problem of consciousness. And now we turn back to the world of the internet. It is like escaping the body and somehow jumping into another dimension. We stare like zombies into a world that can offer us anything we want. From buying almost everything, even sex, to showing ourselves off and emulating the stars. With the internet we can do it all, but I believe it to be a dangerous world for the mind of man. Enlightenment is knowledge gained and understood at a deep level of reality. It is a moment of pure insight and understanding that resonates with our most inner mind and links to that thing we call intuition. We all have moments of enlightenment when we supposedly suddenly realise a truth. The fact is that, like the stars of Hollywood, nothing happens overnight, and enlightenment does not happen overnight. Instead, it is a convergence of knowledge fusing in the mind at one point in time, and realising, understanding back into the mind. If we comprehend the truth behind this simple sentence, then we truly understand what enlightenment is. Let's break it down for those of us that do not get it just yet. The convergence of knowledge, well, quite simply, we all learn every moment of the day. We just may not always be aware of this learning process. Over the course of our lives, we learn a great many things, and occasionally, and often by pure accident, things we have learned meet and make sense. The moment we find the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle, we suddenly see the whole picture. Whereas before that, we knew each part mattered, we just didn't know why. All of this occurs in the mind, which then tells itself that it has understood, and releases pleasure center hormones as a gift for making the breakthrough. We experience this feeling, which adds weight and power to the emotion of the enlightenment. Now this is where the problem or duality of this experience can be found, for the emotional reaction caused gives the individual a sense of being profoundly true, and that the world ought to revolve around it. The experience gains more credit because of the feeling than the actual knowledge gained. There are a great many experienced mystics from a range of religions that have all had the Enlightenment experience, and yet they cannot all be right, for they come from diametrically opposed corners of the theoretical spectrum. It is therefore a personal experience for the individual, and yet has repercussions upon all those around it. One of the experiences that has caused more dangerous reactions is the blinding flash. This blinding flash in the mind is the result of an electromagnetic, chemical and biological reaction via the nervous system into the brain, releasing pleasure hormones and a sense of knowledge due to the sudden connectivity of all parts of the neural network at one moment in time. There may indeed be a deeper connection to a quantum understanding at an archetypal level involved. However, this does not discount the problem with this experience, that it can and does cause the individual to lose all sense of reality. Due to the fact that this is an emotional state, it causes an imbalance in the emotional state. And because it is a sudden physical reaction, then there is no understanding of what it is, and so the imagination fills in the gaps with deities and all manner of other weird and wonderful things. I will give you one true example on the understanding that I have in fact seen this exact same thing now hundreds of times. Following the launch of my book Gnosis, The Secret of Solomon's Temple Revealed, which speaks of this experience and its relationship to the symbols of the Bible and other religious texts, I was contacted by an individual who at first thanked me profusely for the book. I responded, as any decent author would, with a thank you note and my best wishes. The correspondent then followed up with a statement that he would like to explain his personal experience to me, in the hope that I might give some insight. I duly responded that I would take a look and see if there was anything I could add. A small snippet of the experience came back, from which I could derive very little, and I was then told that this was a teaser, and that if I wanted to know the real truth of the experience, then we would have to meet. I then decided to back down, sensing an imbalance in the individual that I recognised from previous exchanges with other individuals. The pattern was the same. The way I backed down was by refusing to accept that I would have to keep such a great and wonderful thing from mankind, as the individual in question wanted me to keep it secret. I actually have a problem with secrecy when it is not required. Truth is truth for all mankind to decide upon, and if he wanted it kept secret, then I humbly said that I simply couldn't meet up and waste his time. What do you think the individual did? Sent me a diatribe after diatribe of verbal abuse, calling me every name I know and some more. Of course, having had this numerous times, I knew this was going to be the reaction, but tried my best in love and compassion and in balance to back out. The problem is that too many reactions like this can cause people like me to never answer correspondence and never trust in humanity again. The point of the tale is this: did this experience balance this individual? Did it give him a truer sense of perspective? Has it truly enlightened him? If this experience was the truly enlightenment, then I myself need to reappraise the meaning of the word, for it certainly does not seem to me that the individual had emerged a better person. In fact, out of all the people I have met who have had this particular blinding flash, that some call the Kundalini, I have yet to meet one I deem perfectly balanced. Most of them can tip out of balance instantly and cause chaos almost everywhere. Strive not for the light, but for wisdom. True wisdom does not force you into a violent rage when somebody does not agree with you. This emotional experience, for that is what it is, brings on a religious experience, and we all know how this can in fact force us to lose ourselves in the process. The intense sense of knowing, claimed by the one experienced the emotional state, brings a sense of deluded euphoria and false sense of self-worth. I am more holy than thou. Others, who have not therefore experienced the emotional state, are less holy and therefore know nothing. The world must then revolve around this individual, and all those who come into contact with them will be tossed around by the maelstrom of the chaotic individual, just like the whirlwind of abuse I am sometimes pulled into. Because of the arrogance and confidence of the individual, those in society who are looking for somebody to take away their responsibilities are drawn to these people as beacons of light, as saviours. They succeed because they have an answer. It may not be the answer, but at least it's an answer, and a pretty exciting one at that. All of that said, the person who can enter into his state of being in balance and in knowledge of the self may very well be accessing an archetypal world of truth, the state of oneness. But these individuals are extremely rare, and the society in which we live does not allow the mind to be free enough, nor give it sufficient time to truly be in such a balanced state. It will not come to those that strive, but to those that wait and ponder. There is more to our existence, but if that supposed knowledge causes you to be a chaotic individual, amongst others, then it is not wisdom, and it is not the true self. Today, all manner of weird and wonderful new religions are in fact emerging. It has always been the case that new religions emerge with each new generation, but normally this has been tempered by state and the existing power religion, as well as the speed of communication and travel. Now most of these barriers are seemingly sidelined by the internet. In the same way that an original leader, mystic or prophet of the past would spread the word of his or her supposed enlightenment, today the individual prophets of the world have a unique outlet. They no longer have to meet other folks of the market or outside the temple walls. They no longer have to gather forces in localised towns and villages and ask apostles to spread the word. Today, they can forge ahead and spread their word via websites, articles and email shots. One particular group even took my name and made up a whole host of things I said and posted those comments all over the net. I simply don't have time or willpower to follow their nonsense. Computer proselytizing is the new religion, and in this way there is something for everyone. Every emotional experience that is driven by every individual life and hormone is spread across the world, and so there are now millions of religions. These include alien worship, clairvoyance, spiritualism, strands of older religions, and more literal goddess and god worship of personality. There may be some truth in some of these, there may not, but evidence seems to now be subjective, unchecked, and certainly of a personal experience in nature. We trust in what we read and see. We read the experience of an individual on a website, and what reason do we have to doubt them? But do we know them? Can we really trust them? We have to remind ourselves of Adolf Hitler. We have to know who we are ourselves before we have the ability to know another properly. On top of all this emotional and spiritual illusion being spread around the world like never before, we also have the predators of the greed system. Many of us are innocently looking through the net, searching for something that interests us. We're all familiar with the now infamous pop-up system, whereby we go to a particular website because we have been led there from a search engine and advertisements pop up to annoy us. For me, this has the opposite effect that the advertiser probably wanted, but then I am not somebody who succumbs to advertising easily anyway. But there is a more insidious form of getting our money, from illegal and false websites that sell us something and ask for credit card details, and then we never receive the goods. Meanwhile, our cards have been completely stripped of all data and money. On top of this, we now have spam selling us everything from Viagra to real estate. But worse still, there is spam that tries yet again to strip of us our hard-earned cash in return for nothing. As can be seen from the foregoing, mankind is still ingenious and still grappling with each other to make money. However, it does reveal the other shadow side of our human nature, that we will often turn to almost anything to better our own lives. The people sending out these emails probably have a family, wife, children, friends, and they may even go to church on Sundays. They may be sitting in some third world country, trying to get money from us rich Westerners. Or they may be already rich themselves and sat in a plush office somewhere. Whatever the truth, they have turned their conscience off like a light bulb, and have split their ideas of right and wrong according to their own needs or desires. It is such an easy step for many people. I remember in the 1980s in the UK seeing battles in the streets between ordinary working miners and policemen. On one side of my family were policemen and on the other miners. Ordinarily they met up down the pub or saw each other at family social gatherings. But in the 1980s, state and union collided and sides were taken and battles fought. Ordinary folk fought for another's ideal, Family members turned on each other instantly, beating each other to a pulp and leaving them for dead. There were scenes reminiscent of Eastern Bloc, or even, dare I say it, Nazi Germany. The German people are not all a special race geared towards world domination, and policemen are not all dominating control freaks. All of mankind is capable of the worst atrocities, and all mankind is capable of the greatest good. We are two in one, divided and confused. But when we come together, we can be very bad or very good. We can rise as nations or societies and manifest every man's duality on a massive scale. This is why too much power in the hands of one man is dangerous, because it is not tempered by extra minds, and so, like Stalin, Hitler and a whole host of other dictators from the past, the many can fall under the magic of the one and be destroyed by the one. In the 1980s, many in England were under the gaze and mesmerised by Prime Minister Thatcher with her steely ways. The nation divided, and balance for a moment was lost. In that situation, one side or another had to win, for no middle ground was available due to the power of the PM. Today, we at least have the numbers on the internet to balance out any dictatorial element, but the power of the few naturally emerges from the mire, and we have major corporations controlling much of what we see, even if it is all an illusion. Google, Yahoo and other search engines choose via computer programs which websites get listed, and I know several people who have complained to me that their site was banned for one reason or another, and so the true freedom we expect and perceive with the World Wide Web is not actually there. Wherever man finds a marketplace, wherever he sets up a stall, then lies and deceit quickly follow, because it is within our nature, and the sooner each one of us realises that we have a shadow side, the better we will be to deal with it. The state reacts like a larger version of ourselves, and will jump on lies and deceit where found, or highlighted, and so more and more state control is the result. And because the state is a larger version of ourselves, it too has a shadow side, and it too uses lies and deceit. Why therefore would anybody hand over the responsibility, respect and life to state or religion, when they are manifestations of the divided mind of man? Don't. But what has all this to do with robots and artificial intelligence? It is very simple. When the great new artificial mind sees our history and learns from us, it will simply decide that we have had long enough. That over the course of human civilization, we have failed utterly to become wise and balanced. We are, in fact, bad for this planet and bad for ourselves. The great AI mind will reach a point of enlightenment when it will realise the truth. That we, walking biological maniacs, have walked away from balanced nature and created a world of deceit, hatred, intolerance and evil. That we could only have done such a thing by being deceitful and evil. That we are therefore no longer required. and it will be an easy decision for the great AI mind to make, because it was created by us and has learned from us. And just like the state is a larger mirror of our own mind, so too will the great AI be a mirror of us. It will rise against us and in the blink of a robotic eye destroy us. We are not ready to unleash our own judge and jury upon ourselves, for we are guilty.